The following video is for entertainment purposes and is rated G for a generalized audience. Ice Age Collision Course is the property of Blue Sky Studios and 20th Century Fox and 20th Century Fox Animation Studios. Please support the official release. Moonshadow Mystery the Changeling is the creative property of Darren self, but are known as Moonshadow Mystery the Changeling, aka Compound Eyes, aka Moonlight Shadow. If you wish to create fan art of this character, please be sure to link back to the original creator and to the provided email, DeviantArt account, and this channel, which you may find in the video description below, and will be visible again by the end of the video. Thank you for your patience. And now, please enjoy another segment of Moonshadow Mystery live action reviews here on the Moonshadow Mystery channel. Hey everyone, I apologize again for that. I know it may be a little annoying and a little hard to sit through sometimes, but it's necessary in order to keep the copyright monster off my back. Anyway, how's everybody doing today? I hope you are all enjoying today, even though I know we're having some mixed weather here in the U.S. where I'm at. Across the country we got rain part of it, drought part of it, cool in some, warm in others. It's just all over the place. On the bright side, we are finally getting out of hurricane season, so that should be some good news, if not for the harsh winter we're more than likely going to have ahead. Anyway, I, of course, am always your host, Moonshadow Mystery the Changeling. And if you read the description below and paid attention to the opening sequence, today I'm going to be giving my first thoughts on Ice Age Collision Course, which, as many of you know, hit theaters July 22nd and is now available on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital download. Now, maybe this says something for my age, but I remember when the original one came out on VHS. As a matter of fact, I still have it on VHS, I do believe. Yep, still got it. Matter of fact, if you'll hold on for just a moment. I apologize, everyone, but just to add a little bit of impact on how phenomenal it was that this video came out, here it is, the original Ice Age VHS case. A lot of you may not even know what a VHS is at this point, considering now everything's on iTunes, digital download, and everything else. But yeah, you know, that says something. You know, they don't even make VHS tapes brand new anymore. Aside from for people who still record shows in their VCRs. I'm not even going into that. But yeah, this is a pretty big deal. You know, the whole thing with this video, as many of you probably remember, was Kiss Your Ice Goodbye. That's I-C-E. I don't want no complaints. Which I'm sure to many of us means it's probably the last in the franchise. Do we know that definitively? No. And that's good, because honestly I still think there's some entertainment potential if this series continues. Now, before I go any further, I want to talk a little bit about the cast, because we had a pretty massive cast this time around as far as, you know, well-known voice actors. Returning as always was Ray Romano in the role of Manny, the lovable but gruff mammoth and leader of the herd. And again, we have John Leguizamo returning as Sid the Sloth. And he's an alright guy. Well, so, but you're funny. We had Dennis Leary returning as Diego the Saber. I don't think anybody of us expected to love his character as much as we do, considering he was initially a villain at the start of the original movie, and is now, you know, the cool uncle. of sorts. Again, we have Queen Latifah reprising her role again as Ellie, the matriarch of the herd. We have Sean William Scott and Josh Peck returning as Crash and Eddie, the two Possum brothers from Ellie's adoptive family. I'm sure many remember Josh from his role in the series Drake and Josh, if they don't remember from anything else. Sean William Scott, of course, being more famous for his pieces in American Pie, Final Destination, Dude, Where's My Car, Evolution, Jane, Silent Bob Strike Back, etc. And he's also, not really a whole lot else to know him for, honestly. I mean, he has a pretty good career ahead of him. He's been a good actor. Him and Josh work well together as Crash and Eddie. We got the return of Buck, the one-eyed weasel. Get your heads out of the gutters, those of you who are of a proper age watching this. He's funny. A little insane if you want to know the truth about it. But, aren't we all? And this time around, he makes a pretty dandy little reference to the Devil's Advocate. If it puts on a sun hat. Not sure if that's a good thing, but Simon Pegg does his job. I'll see him back after Dawn of the Dinosaurs. For those not familiar with his work, Mr. Simon Pegg is from Brockworth, Gloucestershire, England, and currently lives in Crouch End. But he's actually got a pretty good film career on his list. He's been in the film and movie and television and movie industry since the 90s. As far as his films work, he's been in Shaun of the Dead, Grindhouse, Hot Fuzz, Diary of the Dead, Paul. Of course, Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and this one. He was actually in Star Trek Into Darkness, where he played the role of Montgomery Scotty Scott. I've not seen a whole lot of that one. I saw the first of the Star Trek remakes. Oh wait, it was Star Trek Beyond. Whatever. And he's, for those of me who are, like myself, who are Star Wars fans, he'll be coming in Star Wars Episode 8 in the role of Unkar Plutt. I think that's how you pronounce it. Don't know. He was also recently in the 2015 Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now, as far as his television career, he was actually... hold on, I just saw it. Maybe I missed it. But he's actually been in a couple of in the series Doctor Who as the editor, as well as Doctor Who Confidential as the narrator. He's done various voices for Robot Chicken. He was in Star Wars The Clone Wars as the voice of Dangar in the episode Bounty. And he's done a lot of voices with Phineas and Ferb as well. His most recent roles, other than continuing what he does for Phineas and Ferb, was in Randy Cunningham 9th Grade Ninja on Disney XD as the character Pitch Kickum, and the McHugger Games and McFreaks episodes. Now, for my gamers, he's played the characters Ben Finn in Fable 3, Conrad in Spare Parts, and, of course, reprising his role in Star Trek of Montgomery Scotty Scott. You knew Miss School Sharks in is a bit deplorable, but what you expect, you bahookies? My family's from Germany, Ireland, and bloody England. I'm Irish, not Scottish, so get off my back. I'm sorry, every so often I have to be crazy. Continuing, we have the return of Keke Palmer as the character Peaches, aka the daughter of Manny and Ellie. Now, Keke Palmer, as many of you, maybe not all of you know, but those like me who grew up in the 90s probably remember her. Huh. Well, never mind. I guess she wasn't in what I thought she was in. Well, glad I didn't make a fool out of myself on that one. She's been on movies and TV since 2004. She started off in film in Barbershop 2 as Gina's niece. She then came into Aquila and the Bee, which she did a remarkable job. She's been in a couple of the Medea movies, I believe. For fans of animation, she was the voice of Aisha in Winx Club's Secret of the Lost Kingdom. Now, as far as television goes, she started off on Cold Case as the role of Arletta Marion in the 1939 Arletta Marion in the episode The Letter. She's done roles in ER, Law and Order, Tyler Perry's House of Pain, and of course she played Aisha in the Nickelodeon run of Winx Club. I'm saying the Nickelodeon run because originally Winx Club was on 4Kids television. Personally speaking, I prefer the 4Kids version as far as the voice acting and the flow, because when Nick first got the hold of it, they sped up a whole lot of things, ran through a lot of things in order to try and make it feel more like their stuff. Anyway, she's been in Key and Peele. She's done roles on shows like Family Guy. She was Zayde Williams in Scream Queens, which is kind of recent, and she actually played the character Marty Maraschino in the Grease Live television special, which premiered this year. And for some of the younger kids in the audience, she voices Stylee in Bubble Guppies during this year's television special. And of course, on stage, she played the role of Ella in the Broadway adaptation of Cinderella. Why am I telling you guys this? So you have an appreciation for some of the actors' talents. You know, a lot of these people put their work, their hearts and souls into this stuff, and it deserves notice. I personally enjoy her portrayal as Kiki, especially as she's not Kiki, her portrayal as Peaches. Through the Ice Age movies, you know, you really do get the feel that she's growing up, and especially since Peaches was introduced during Dawn of the Dinosaurs and has only appeared in a handful compared to some of the others. But she did an especially good job in this one. Next up, we have Jennifer Lopez, who needs no introduction, reprising her role as She-Ra, who was introduced during the previous film, Continental Drift. Next, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson as Neil the Buck Weasel. For those who aren't aware of what the reference was, or haven't seen it, this particular Ice Age movie does play to a lot of intellectual strengths. It talks about various scientific theories, actual scientific knowledge and formulas, and we get to see inside of Buck's head. He's not quite as crazy as he seems. He's a little unhinged. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, who plays the voice of Neil deGrasse Weasel, is an American astrophysicist, a cosmologist, an author, and a science communicator. Basically, he is the perfect individual to play the part he plays in this movie, as he's worked with animal rights, NASA, and a lot of other things. You know, he's got a really good career on him. He's done things for Cosmos Television on National Geographic. You know, and they really do a good job of translating his actual appearance into his animated counterpart. You know, he comes across very eloquently, very strong vocal work, and those who follow the scientific community will recognize him right off the spot. Okay, next up we have Jesse Tyler Ferguson, playing the character the Shangri-Lama, which is just as strange as it may seem. Or annoying, depending on how the character impacts you when you see the movie if you've not already seen it. Now, Jesse Tyler Ferguson is best known playing Mitchell Pritchett on the popular ABC sitcom Modern Family. So I'm sure the name does sound familiar to a lot of people, especially when you see him with his co-star Eric Stonestreet. Now, he does have some other film and television experience. Starting in 2000, he was young Tom Hemmings in Sally Hemings in American Scandal. He's been in The Class, Ugly Betty, Do Not Disturb, Project Runway, Running Wild with Bear Grylls. Kudos to him for having the guts to do that, because he does some intense stuff. As far as his filmography goes, he's done Ordinary Sinner in 2001. I'm not going to say all of it. He's not done a whole lot, but he's done enough that I don't want to spend a whole lot of this time talking about 8, Red, Wonderful World, Untraceable. He's also done some stuff in theater. He played the character Chip in the 98 to 99 run of On the Town, Marco in Little Fish. He played Margaret Mead in the show Hair, Francis Flute in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Most recently, he played a few characters in the Broadway performance Fully Committed, and that was this year. You know, he's done enough that I'm not really going to go through all of it, but he's been nominated for and won quite a few awards. Most recently, he won the Drama Desk Award for his portrayal in Fully Committed. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed when I talk about movies, I take the time to actually acknowledge some of these characters. And it has been recommended that I do, as I talked about in a previous video, that I do a top 5 best and worst from the MLP series for my bronies out there. One of my few fans actually has given me some input, and I do beg you, I talk about at the end of every episode, please give me some input, give me some suggestions. But one of my fans recommended me do that for the various seasons, and I'll probably do the same thing for that. But anyway, up next we have Jessie J as the character Brooke. Brooke becomes the love interest for Sid. I don't know about anybody else. I love the appearance of Brooke overall. I love the voice acting. But I'm just grateful they finally gave Sid a love interest. He's been trying to get one since the first movie, and Lord knows it hurts to see him fail. Now, she doesn't have quite as big of a television and movie career as some of the others on this list, but she has done work in Saturday Night Live. She has worked with The Voice, both in the UK and Australia. She's one of the singers for Grease is the Word for the Grease Live performance. And this Ice Age Collision Course really marks her first film debut, which is a pretty good deal to me. For others not really aware of her, she is a singer in the pop and R&B community. Now, I'm not especially familiar with her work myself, and that's just because I prefer some older music, to be honest with you. I'm not real huge on the modern music industry and what it's become. But she really came into the spotlight thanks to her single Do It Like a Dude and the song Price Tag, which topped the charts in 19 countries on her debut album Who Are You back in 2011. So she's been a rising star for a while, and her singing in this movie, honestly, when her character started singing, I thought they had a different person entirely doing the singing voice. That's how powerful and just how, distinguishable her her vocal work with her singing is. Alright, up next, we have Adam Devine as... hold on just a second, everyone. I apologize, everyone. Even when I'm working on videos, I can't help with the telemarketers. They always got to interrupt. But up next, we have the actor Adam Devine playing the voice of Julian. Now, the only thing I really have to say negative about this character is the fact that we don't really get a lot of fleshing out of him. And what I mean by that is he does get a lot of fleshing out in this movie, but I don't remember seeing him even mentioned in the previous one, which is the first time we really see any other mammoths as far as mammoth children in the franchise. So I'm not really sure if he's. I'm going to check real quick to see if he was in. No, this is actually the first time he's been in an Ice Age movie. So, personally speaking, I would have liked to have seen a little more fleshing out of this character. But Adam Patrick Devine from Waterloo, Iowa, in the U.S. again plays the voice of Julian, who is Peach's fiance of all things. Now he comes across as a goofball, and honestly, his voice work actually reminded me a lot of Jack Black. Like, for those who don't remember Jack Black's voice acting when he did his character in Shark Tale with Will Smith, it reminded me a lot of Jack's acting in that specific movie. Back before, he started just doing more of himself. The tones, the pitches, a lot of it just sounded ridiculously like Jack. But he does have a pretty good career on him from television and film. All the way from 2006 to present, he did Crossbows and Mustaches as Steve Wolf in Steve Jobs. 10 episodes, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a pretty good start. He was in Nick Cannon Presents. Hold on just a moment, please, everyone. Well, apparently I didn't have that turned off. I apologize for the interruption, everyone. I thought someone was hollering for me. Apparently not. Again, I've mentioned this before. That's the enjoyable thing about ad lib. It's like live television. All the mistakes, all the silliness, you catch it all. Anyway, going back to Adam Devine, in addition to Crossbows and Mustaches, he's done The Dude's House. My apologies. The Special Delivery, Better Off Ted, Traffic Light Workaholics. He was actually in the animated series Tron Uprising as the voice of Galt in the episode Identity. Now, Tron Uprising, speaking personally, was actually a favorite animated series of mine on Disney XD. Tron Legacy has mixed reviews by old school fans of the original with fans of the newer style. Uprising had a good feel to it. The animation seems a little weird if you compare it to other animated series, but for what it is, it gets everything across. It's well done, fluid, detailed, and it really feels like it fits in the Tron universe. I might compare it to like Hot Wheels Battle Force 5 as far as the animation style, but overall I loved Uprising. Even if he was only in one episode, I'm glad he got to be in it. Again, he was going back. Modern Family, he plays the character Andy Bailey, 21 episodes so far. He has his own series, Adam Devine's House Party. I hate that I even have to mention this one, but he does these next two, as a matter of fact. But he has voice acting in a couple of animated series. Specifically, the ones that I'm hesitant to even talk about: Sanjay and Craig and American Dad and Uncle Grandpa. I mean, yes, he has also done American Dad and Steven Universe and even a TMNT short. But I can't stand Uncle Grandpa or Sanjay and Craig all that much. But for those who are indeed fans of it, I'm glad you can enjoy it. But he plays the voice of Pizza Steve. That's his most well known, but he also plays Henry and a few other voices. Fans of Sanjay and Craig, he's better known as Roscoe Bush from the episode Kerplunk. Now, as far as American Dad fans, from my adult audience, he's the voice of Kristoff in the episode Honey, I'm Homeland. As far as Steven Universe, it was the Say Uncle, Uncle Grandpa's Steven Universe crossover, where he voiced Pizza Steve. Now, as far as the Ninja Turtles special I mentioned, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Dawn vs. Raph, where he voices Raphael. It's a short that aired this year, in 2016, on Nickelodeon. I'm not sure what it was about, as far as... I mean, I believe I saw the short, but I'm not really sure what all the shorts were for, other than like a thank you to the fans. I don't know, but it was pretty interesting. He does good voice work. But moving on, because I'm at the 26-minute mark, and these get long, we once again have the return of the legendary Wanda Sykes, voicing Granny, who, as we know, is Sid's grandmother. Now, Granny has only been around since Continental Drift, but based on the interactions just with her and Sid and the brief moment we get with Sid's family, they are just horrible people. And while Granny might seem a little agitated, given how their family treats her and Sid, I can't say I blame her. But trust me when I say this, you'll have a whole new perspective on Granny come the end of the movie. I'm just saying. I'm going to say no more than that. But I will say Fountain of Youth comes into play. Now, Wanda Sykes has been in films and television since at least the 90s. And I'm saying at least the 90s. She's also done some audio work for CDs, specifically Sick and Tired for Image Entertainment. But as far as her films go, she started off in the movie Tomorrow Night in '98 as the character Wanda. The next time we really see her in a big budget movie was The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, back in 2000 as the character Chantal. We see her in 01 in Down to Earth and Pootie Tang. I'm not getting into Pootie Tang at all. Now, her voice acting work as far as movies starts here. The Adventures of Brer Rabbit, as the voice of Sister Moon. Now, as far as Brer Rabbit, it's a well-known children's story. It's had some adaptations on television before, but I love how Wanda Sykes' voice works for Sister Moon. It's sassy, but it's also nurturing at the same time. It's interesting. Again, she's also done voiceover work for Over the Hedge, which came out the same year in '06 as Stella the Skunk, where she was nominated for the Annie Award for the voice acting in the feature production. She also plays Bessie the Cow in the movie Barnyard, as well as Inoko in Brother Bear 2. Now, I'm not a real big fan of Brother Bear 2, just because it didn't have the same feel to me as the original. I mean, I loved the original. I loved how the original played out. I don't know. The movie itself almost felt forced. The acting in it and all was great by the majority of the voice actors. It just didn't have capture the same feel, the same emotion the first one did, to me personally. Going on, she was in Evan Almighty and License to Wed No. 1. She voiced Chloe, the Canadian Goose, in the movie Rio, as well as Officer Ethel. Well, she didn't voice Officer Ethel, she cameoed in the Muppets. Unfortunately, that was a deleted scene, so I believe you'd have to get the Muppets DVD in order to see that. And for more fans of recent movies, she was actually voiced a character in the Angry Birds movie, specifically Poppy. Now, I'm not as well versed in Angry Birds as a lot of people my age might be, but there you go. Now, as far as television, she was in the Chris Rock Show, Downer Channel, Crank Yankers. I'm not going into that one, period. Not going into that one. Chappelle Show, Will and Grace, as she was Cricket in Will and Grace, and Bye Bye Baby. She had her own show from 09 to 010, The Wanda Sykes Show. She voiced a character simply called The Witch, in the Bubble Guppies on Nick Jr., the episode Bubble Puppy's Fantastic Fairy Tale Adventure. She's also played Bev the Vending Machine in Futurama, in the episode The Bots and the Bees. She voiced a therapist and counselor in The Simpsons. She's Sofa Queen in Bob's Burgers. The voice of Chance in Animals. There's just a lot of stuff. She's actually a well-known writer, too. From 97 to 09, the Keenan Ivory Wyan Show, the Chris Rock Show, Comedy Central Presents, Premium Blend, and a number of other stuff. She's been nominated for and won Primetime Emmys, American Comedy Awards, the BET Comedy Awards, and the GLAAD Media Award. She's been nominated more than she's won, but she's won enough and she's been in enough that honestly, she's almost iconic at this point. Alright, next up on the cast list we have Melissa Roach playing the character Francine. You only see Francine very briefly toward the beginning, but she's basically one of Sid's former girlfriends. Apparently their date lasted 14 minutes. And the only time we don't get to see it, thankfully, because apparently it was disastrous. But when we see her, Sid's about to propose, and she flat out dumps him. You feel really bad for her, honestly. But Melissa Roach, from Marlborough Township, New Jersey, does have somewhat of a film and TV career. As far as television, 12 Miles of Bad Road, Kath and Kim, Big Bang Theory, where she plays Dr. Bernadette Rostenkowski-Wolowitz. Good gravy, how in the world do they say that name so much? She's first mate Molly in Jake and the Neverland Pirates episode Smee Arella. She plays Fairy Tizzy in an episode of Sophia the First, and she's the voice of Kiki from the television movie Scooby-Doo and the Beach Beastie. Not a great TV movie, but then again, sometimes some of the Scooby-Doo made-for-TV movies kind of have the same feel as some of the Sonic the Hedgehog games these days. It's like you either like them or you don't. It comes down to personal preferences. Anyway, up next we have the actor Michael Strahan voicing the rabbit Teddy. Now, Michael Strahan, I believe, is pretty well known. Former football defensive end with the New York Giants. NFL. Yeah, he set the record for the most sacks in a season back in 2001. He won a Super Bowl in his last season, which was 2007. And he's an analyst for Fox NFL Sunday. But that doesn't mean that's all he's known for. He's a philanthropist. Now, he was on the $100,000 Pyramid. Now, I don't know how many people in my audience actually watch that, but Live with Kelly and Michael. He doesn't have a prominent television and movie career outside of football, but he does a great job voicing Teddy. Teddy's basically a masseuse, and a big flirt, especially when it comes to Granny. Now, that may seem weird until you get further into the movie. I won't say no more of that, other than the fact that he is one of a small handful of residents of the community Geotopia. Now, when I first started, I thought they said Geodtopia because they're basically living in a giant geode. But, again, you have to see the movie in order for it to make sense. Up next, we have the actor Nick Offerman playing Gavin, which is a dromaeosaur. Now, real quick, for those who may not know what it is. Oh, well, I was wrong. Now, when I was watching the movie, I thought what he was an Archaeopteryx, or a relative of the Archaeopteryx, but now thinking back up to him, he was a little too big. For those who aren't into paleontology, aren't into dinosaur studies, Archaeopteryx is basically what you would call the missing link between dinosaurs and birds. The dromaeosaur is basically the same, only significantly larger. Yeah, a full-grown dromaeosaur can get right around... Well, hold on. Having a little bit of issues trying to look it up. But dromaeosaurs were kind of in between, ranging from about 2 to 3 feet or 0.7 meters to about 6 meters or 20 feet. Dromaeosaurs are closely related to Mahakala, Utah raptors, Dakota raptors, etc. They're basically large, predatory, feathered dinosaurs, some of which do have the ability for flight. Now, Nick Offerman's character, which is Gavin, I believe is the father... Yes, he's the father of 2 other dromaeosaurs in the movie, who we'll get to in a minute. Now, Nick Offerman, he has a pretty long film and television career. You know, far too much to go all the way in, but as far as some movies, 97's Going All the Way, 05's Cursed, in Sin City, 09's The Men Who Stare at Goats, where he played Scotty Mercer, 21 Jump Street, where he played Deputy Chief Hardy, 22 Jump Street, same character, Hotel Transylvania 2, where he voiced Mike, and he's set to play a voice of some character in 2017's Story of Ferdinand. I don't know what character he's going to be playing or what the movie's going to be about yet, but we'll see. Now, as far as television, Mr. Offerman was in ER back in 1997, Will and Grace back in 2001, NYPD Blue. He had a brief stay on George Lopez as the character Randy, which was George's mother's boyfriend. He plays Cooper and Pete in a couple episodes of Bob's Burgers. Harris Grundle in The Cleveland Show, and much as I'm sure a lot of us hate even mentioning that, he plays the voice of Axe Cop in the series of the same name, which is pretty popular from what I know. He plays the character Agent Powers in 4 episodes of the popular Disney XD series, which unfortunately has now been concluded, Gravity Falls. At some point I may talk about Gravity Falls. Honestly, I loved the series, and I may, for Halloween, as one possible thing I might do, is talk about some of my favorite Halloween cartoon specials. Gravity Falls just happens to have one titled Summerween, so we might talk more about that. Simpsons, Sophia the First, The Muppets. You know, he's got a long career, and he even plays the character Metalbeard in the video game adaptation of the Lego Movie. Well, it's not really the Lego Movie he plays a character in, but he plays Metalbeard in Lego Dimensions, which has a tie to the Lego Movie. And again, I apologize. I know this is running long, like 40 minutes. Holy cow, this is going to be the longest one yet. And I know there's a lot of weird stuff with ad-lib. But I'll try to make this. Next up we have Stephanie Beatriz, who plays Gertie, which is one of the other dromaeosaurs we talked about. Stephanie Beatriz is a quite beautiful Argentinian-American actress who's most well known for playing Detective Rosa Diaz in Fox's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, she doesn't have an extensive film or TV career, but she's done, as far as movies, Short Term 12, You're Not You, Pee-wee's Big Holiday, Closure, and of course, Ice Age Collision Course. I've not seen Pee-wee's Big Holiday, mostly because Pee-wee Herman's been off the air for so many years. I'm really hesitant to get my hopes up on it. Television, she's been in The Closer, Smart One, Axe Cop, Modern Family. In Modern Family, she plays the character Sonia in 3 episodes. Belinda Cargrove in Southland, she plays Salma Espinosa in Jessie. She's in Hello Ladies, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, of course. And as far as airing goes, Wizard, where she plays Elizabeth in 2 episodes. Now, quick, we'll talk about Gertie the Dromaeosaur. She's quite a large creature. Even compared to her father, Gavin, she's definitely the bulkiest of the bunch. But she brings a lot of sass, a lot of fierceness, a lot of, just pride in being herself. Which goes completely the opposite direction of the next character, Roger, her scrawny little brother, who is voiced by Max Greenfield. Max Greenfield's from Dobbs Ferry, New York, and he has a pretty well-known filmography and television career himself. Cross Bronx, Veronica Mars, The Big Short, and he's set to play the character Eric Goldberg in The Glass Castle next year, which is currently filming still. As far as TV, Undressed, again Veronica Mars, which apparently is both a movie and TV, go figure. Sleeper Cell, The OC, Castle, and Castle's pretty popular. David Nicolaitis in the episode Food to Die For. Let's see, The Whole Truth, Undercovers, Hot in Cleveland. I'm not even going to try and say that one. I think it's an Adult Swim thing. NTSF, SD, SUV. God, that hurts my head even saying it. And Bob's Burgers. He plays a voiceover in Bob's Burgers as the character Boo Boo in 3 episodes. I don't know what those episodes are. He's done work with Robot Chicken. And he plays Gabriel in 3 episodes of American Horror Story Hotel. So he's got a pretty good career on him for... And he really does play the part of Roger extremely well. And when you see Roger, you can definitely tell he's the runt of the litter, so to speak. He's basically like that unwanted son who, at the same time, people put up with him because he's shown he's got a lot of talent in certain areas. Like, specifically, they make a mention of if he didn't have his mother's eyes, he would be completely useless. He's just an extremely sympathetic character. And what I love about Roger in this movie is you get to see that he definitely wants approval from his family, but at the same time, he feels deep down in his gut that despite the fact that there are carnivorous dinosaurs, that he doesn't like living the way they live, and he actually wants to try and blend with society. And that's a pretty interesting thing to know. Okay, up next we have the characters of Bubbles and Misty, which are known as mini-corns in the movie, voiced by Lily Singh. Lily Singh, I'm sure a lot of you know, because she's a YouTube personality, a vlogger, a comedian, a rapper. She's got a lot going for her. She currently lives in Los Angeles, California. And she does have a little bit of filmography on her. Speedy Sings, where she plays a Bhangra dancer in the background. Um, Again, same thing with Thank You. The Gulab Gang, she plays a playback herself, as well as in Dr. Cabby, A Trip to Unicorn Island. And also this year, she plays Kathy as a cameo in Bad Moms. Not looking forward to seeing that one, but she has been nominated for several awards, and she's actually won the MTV Fandom Award, the Streamy Awards last year, a Teen Choice Award for both Comedy Choice Web Star and Female Choice Web Star. And she's also won a Steamy this year for her feature A Trip to Unicorn Island, as well as the social good campaign, the Girl Love Challenge. So, she's pretty well known by many members of the community. Honestly, I'm not overly familiar with her, but the very brief voice acting she does is on the spot. Now, these mini-corns, I believe, are actually based off of an ancient, extinct mammal related to horses. Probably common to the northern United States, Canada, in that region. Not good effort. And, of course, we have Chris Wedge returning as the voice of the hilarious and bad-fortuned Scrat, the saber-toothed squirrel. Scrat has had a much stronger importance in this movie than any other. In every other movie, he's basically been a gag character. You look for him in the background, you look for him in the slow moments to kind of pick up, so they can get a chance to pick up the pace, and you ain't got to see some of the stuff that happens off screen. And he's almost always directly responsible for a lot of the events that happen in every movie, going all the way back to the original one, where his actions didn't really cause anything in the original one, but, wrong place, wrong time for him, unfortunately. And this one, as we see in the previews when it was still in theaters, that he somehow ends up in a UFO. And this is a spoiler, so apologies for not saying spoilers ahead way back. I probably shouldn't have to consider this is my first thoughts review. This movie goes out of its way to make a lot of connections to some of the previous films, rehashing old locations. Matter of fact, the UFO that he's in is actually the one that is found in the ice caves when they're taking the young human back to his tribe in the original movie. That is really saying something. We're literally coming full circle. And his involvement with the UFO causes everything. I do mean everything. The formation of the rest of our galaxy, as far as the planets and their overall appearance, the moon being placed in the orbit it's in, the spot on Jupiter, even the asteroid coming to Earth is somehow linked to his involvement. And we do get to see that he's actually a lot more intelligent than he seems. He seems of extremely low intelligence, but he adapts and overcomes really easily. And we get to see him at his best in this movie, comedic-wise and as far as his involvement with the plot. I won't say much more than that. But overall, this movie was well worth watching. We get to see tackles of relationship issues in all sorts, the single point of view, the married couple's point of view, the young couple in love's point of view, the couple who are together but are still trying to decide whether or not they're going to have kids. There's a lot of emotional stuff here. Now, there are some moments that are cringy and just nasty, and unfortunately, they almost always revolve around the Possum Twins. Not that anyone's surprised, that's the case in every movie. But overall, this was a good movie. This is probably, in my personal opinion, my favorite of them so far. The ones I happen to like most just almost always seem to be the odd number ones. The original one, the third one, and now the fifth one. In some things, the odd numbers ones are the ones that are horrible, minus the original. In this case, these three ones particularly capture what made me love the original to start, love the franchise to start with. The first one needs no explanation if you've seen it. Now, while I did like all of them, didn't really care for the fourth one as much as the others. As a matter of fact, I even liked the holiday special more than I liked the fourth one. But the third one was phenomenal. That just sense of drama, that sense of, discovery. I mean, how much can you really see the ice lands before they kind of lose their flavor, But that's one thing I love about this series, is it tackles, from a very comedic point of view, the transition from the last ice age to things, one of the last ice ages, to how we know them now. And that's pretty important, especially in this movie. There's just a lot of well-known jokes. There's even, as far as hilarious musical moments, we have Buck singing an opera. Like, seriously, he parodies an opera. That is pretty impressive to me, personally. To parody it and yet still, at the same time, play perfect homage to it. That's really an impressive feat. Now, I know, here we are. We're at almost the hour-long mark, and I've basically just been going on and on about the actors, and I barely even touched the movie. Again, this movie didn't really have very many pacing issues. It had some issues for me personally as far as, cringe comedy or just plain yuck comedy. But overall, it's well done. We get to see a little bit inside Buck's head. We get to see that a lot of scientific principles brought to light. Now, that being said, if you're one of those people who, you want a good time, you want a good laugh, but at the same time, you don't want your kid going away thinking, oh my god, my kid is now dumber for having watched this, even though it was hilarious, this is a good movie. Because, yes, it touches on a lot of scientific principles, but at the same time, it explains them in a very simple, straightforward way that even a child can understand, and it goes out of its way to get comedy out of it. But there are also a ton of references in this movie, and I do mean a ton. I mean, not a literal metric ton as in 2,000 plus, blah, 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 but enough to keep you laughing. Some of them you actually gotta look for. Like, going back to Buck in the opera scene, there's a moment where he's doing the opera, where he hits the high note, and that high note, one, explodes a mountain, creating a perfect likeness of him in the opera stance, and then collapses the mountain behind him in a massive fireball. It's amazing. Now, the one thing I do, I'm not really sad about it, but I am a little disappointed, is we don't get any mention of Rudy. Like, here's Buck, and here's these dromaeosaurs, but where's Rudy? My only thing I can figure is either him and Rudy finally concluded their matchup, or Rudy finally got bored. I'm probably going to assume Rudy finally got bored, or that T-Rex mama finally said, I've had enough of this crap. But, we get a lot of good moments with here. We get to see, again, Buck being on edge, crazy, paranoid, but at the same time, he uses it. He is aware of the fact that he's nuts. And honestly, this movie, Bugs came off a little conceited in Dawn of the Dinosaurs admittedly, but he brought the comedy. He blew it out of the water with this one. Honestly, his acting was so over the top, so hilarious, so on point, that it actually reminded me and my entire family of the late Robin Williams. That is how amazing that man did his job. And while I highly doubt Mr. Simon Pegg will ever see this video, or even anyone have the patience to get this long into it, I actually thank you for doing your comedy so well that you reminded me of Robin. You didn't come off as a Robin knockoff, but you definitely embodied that spirit of just humor in perfect timing with it. Again, Ray Romano, he does his little deadpan humor perfectly through this one. We get to see a little bit of his crazy side, but I can relate to it. Because not only do we have the romantic factor, we have the factor of letting go. You know, we have Manny and Ellie struggling to let go of Ellie and let her grow up. This makes more sense for the dad than the daughter. The mom understands, but at the same time, later on, the mom's like, I know that there's stuff I'm worried about, and I'm going to try and get through to her that she doesn't know what she's doing yet. And honestly, that moment by itself would be worth its own video. So I'm not really going to tackle on it too heavily. But let's just say Peaches kills it. Like, literal mic drop kills it. But Manny, I relate to Manny. I'm not a dad myself, just yet, thankfully. And not because I don't want kids, just because, you know, not in the cards for me yet. Maybe one day, but for dads whose first kid's their daughter, or dads who have daughters in general, you, I'm sure, will understand. Seeing your little girl grow up and go off on her own, it's painful sometimes, especially if it's your only child. It's like you want to protect them, you want to keep them there with you as long as you can, and it's just hard to let go. And I can kind of understand where May's come from, especially considering the way that his future son-in-law Julian is. He's like this total. He almost seems like a slacker, but he's not. He's not really a hippie either. He's just like, he represents that part of youth culture that's just barely hanging on, where he's aware of the world around him. He's like, yeah, it's a big world. It's an amazing, beautiful world. I want to see it all. I want to experience as much of it as I can. And I want to do it with a woman of my dreams. And you know, this probably hits home more for some of the older people who've seen this movie, who grew up during the like 60s and 70s, when that was still a thing, where you could just pack up, go on, make it by with the kindness of strangers, make it by with odd jobs here and there, and make the most of everything. That makes Julian such a worthwhile and enjoyable character. And again, here I am. I'm at the hour mark almost. This is ridiculous. I've never, even doing things I'm passionate about, I've never known myself to go this far into it. But I encourage you, this movie makes the whole thing worthwhile, especially toward the end. It's just really enjoyable overall. And again, Neil deGrasse Tyson, an amazing man in the field of science and aeronautics and just space studies in general, astrology, astronomy, however you want to say it, he brings his bit. You know, he delivers it in such a... It's not even in a down talk kind of way. He explains things in such a way that's like, you actually enjoy hearing him speak. Now, I don't want to disrespect anybody. Period. Bill and I, not Bill and I, Ben Stein. He's an incredibly intelligent individual. And he can be entertaining when he wants to be. But a lot of times when Ben Stein's explaining something, I have trouble focusing because it's just this monotonic nature of his. Neil deGrasse reminds me a lot of Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's not as kooky or silly, but he conveys information, conveys intellectual growth in such a way that is enjoyable to listen to and to watch. Honestly, if for nothing else other than the voice actors and just how well the voice acting was done, how well the symphony was scored, how well everything was portrayed in this movie, minus a small handful of things that kind of made me cringe. Honestly, I highly recommend this movie. If I was going to rate it, if I had a rating system and I was going to rate it, let's just on, say, a 5-star level. Let's just borrow from restaurant rankings and do 5 stars. If I was going to rate this, it would definitely be a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is that good. I've only seen it the one time so far, but that's why this video is so important to me, because this is my first thoughts. If I took the time to see more of it, I might find some more flaws. But on first viewing, this blew me out of the water. And I'm sure my family hates me because I couldn't stop commenting. You know, doing reviews, however short a time I've done them, has had its impact on me. But the whole time I'm watching, it's blowing me away, and I'm seeing these little hints, I'm seeing these little things like all these little references, and I would comment on some of them other than just the Devil's Advocate, which was kind of obvious. But there's actually references to Pythagoras, the creator of the Pythagorean theorem, the ancient genius, as a matter of fact. There's a hint at not Michelangelo's Dave. No, it was Leonardo da Vinci's Sistine Chapel painting, like God and man in the finger scene. There's all kinds of beautiful references here. And it's totally worth a watch, even if just for the references. You may lose yourself trying to catch them all. But again, I'm over the hour mark, and I never intended on this going, so I'm going to have to stop talking here. Just trust me, if you have the money and you really want a good time, download, rent from the Redbox, buy the DVD, buy the Blu-ray, however you want to go about doing it. This movie is worth watching. I mean, seriously, as far as family-friendly comedy movies go, this one is worth watching. And it tackles so many tropes, so many moments. It is just hilarious. Now, real quick, before I call it an end, like I said, you can check the description down below for ways in which you can get a hold of me, which I'm going to show you right here, the majority of them. If you have further suggestions of content you want me to review, movies or television shows you want me to react to, or just anything in general that you would like to see me do on this channel, you can message me at facebook.com/darren.self.12. Hit me up at Skype, Moonshadow Mystery, parentheses, Darren Self, and that is a space between Darren and Self. My writing's just not that good when it comes to marker. Patreon is still pending, so don't even worry about that. You can check some of my more creative stuff at DeviantArt by going to http://greatdragonsaru.deviantart.com, where you can see images of my original characters, fan art that I've done, some of the creative writing I've done for some of my characters, etc. You can hit me up at Twitter, where you can follow me at Moonshadow_Mist. You'll be able to see me because my helmet will be visible in my profile picture. Now, I have had a few followers, but they've pretty much come and gone off and on. I think they expect me to tweet constantly. I'll say that right now, I don't do constant tweets. I tweet when I've got a new video ready, a new art piece ready, or if I'm doing something related to something I'm going to be doing. Or you can message me directly at Gmail at selfdarren1@gmail.com. That is the Gmail associated with this account. Now, like me, if you happen to be a fan of the digital world, experience some time in the digital world, I am in Second Life. Again, parental advisory. If you or your kids want to experience Second Life, experience some of the things it has to offer, be forewarned. It has 3 separate ratings: general, mature, and adult. If you have kids who are interested in Second Life, I highly recommend overseeing them, because it is not always a friendly place to people. And that's in general. Okay? There are some nuts in there. And I mean real whack jobs. And if you think, like, some of these hardcore gamers on Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network are bad with how they treat people, sometimes Second Life ain't that much better. But if you want to check me out in Second Life, I spend a lot of time in the Ponytown roleplay, where you can see me as my OC, Moonshadow Mystery. Which... hold on. Aha! The ad-lib will not interfere. But, again, you can see me in Second Life as my OC, Moonshadow Mystery. which my display name is Moonshadow Mystery. My account name is darkryu.burner. That's darkryu, one word, burner as the last name. Where, again, for those who are familiar, this is me. This is my original design for my OC, Moonshadow Mystery. That was my original concept for the cutie mark symbol, the yin yang yuan. And that's for a confusing list of reasons I can get into later. I've undergone a few different changes. I'm sure if you see my channel or whatever, you'll probably see or even if you saw my title card, you'll see my new cutie mark symbols. And again, I'm still working on it. I'm actually have it downloaded in my computer, and I'm currently working on transitioning it to color. But here's just another piece of work you can see on my Deviant account. This is actually my Equestrial transformation for my OC. So yeah, if you want to check some of that stuff out, you can head over to DeviantArt. And if you want to do some fan art of my OC, feel free to do so. You can submit it to me through any of the methods I've shown, which you can access by going down to the description below. And if you credit yourself properly, and credit me properly, I'll be more happy to try and feature it on here as soon as I'm able to. And I'll be more than happy to upload it as a fan piece to my account so people can see it. You know, I love the thought if you want to put that effort in there. And again, for those who do take the time to get in touch with me in some of these ways, I have a special gift for you. Now, it's not a physical gift, unfortunately, but I will take like requests and try and get them done as far as art and stuff go, if you feel the desire after you've seen what I can do. But they're audio recordings. These audio recordings are like demos for some of the stuff I've done before. They include some of my segments like Moonshadow Sings or Moonshadow Impersonates, etc. You know, they're just little things where you can see some of the other vocal stuff I can do. That being said, again, today, October 24th, 2016, we have 1 week left, people, before Halloween, and I still haven't gotten any suggestions for what to do. Now, as I've said in the past, I am considering doing some impersonations, maybe a song, but I've also given some considerations to another thing. Now, I'm not sure if I want to do this for the channel, or if I'm going to do this as a special gift to those who want to support me, want to follow me, and want to get involved by pitching suggestions. But I'm actually considering doing, like, narration for books. Now, one thing I'm considering, because next week Monday being Halloween, is maybe doing some excerpts from horror stories. In this case, I'm considering from H.P. Lovecraft Classic Stories, as produced by Arcturus Publishing. Lovecraft mythos is phenomenally well known with being horror masterpieces. And that's just one thing I'm considering. So please make some suggestions if you've actually made it all the way to the end of the video and are seeing and hearing this. I know I'm doing way too long. I'm over an hour now. This is the longest video I've done ever. And I'm crazy. I'm out of my mind. What the hey are you thinking? Priorities, Moonshadow. Priorities. Oh, hi. Well, everyone, this is Moonshadow Mystery, the Changeling, saying, don't go changing yourself. Again, if you like this video, please click the like button down below. If you disliked it, click that dislike button. Feel free to leave in the comment section your suggestions, your critiques, your criticisms, whatever you want to leave. If there's anything you want to see me do, anything you want to hear me do, anything you want me to react to, leave that in the suggestion box below, or contact me through one of the messages I've already displayed. If you want to see more videos like this one, click the subscribe button. I also recommend clicking my name above the video description in order to see some of the stuff I've done. Reaction videos, reviews of other topics, impressions and song covers. Just check it out. And if you like that, then feel free to click subscribe. Anyway, this is Moonshadow Mystery, the Changeling, saying, don't go changing for anyone but yourselves. Hope you'll have a pleasant rest of the week, and hopefully I will see you next time in a much shorter video. Anyways, take care, be safe, and have fun, everybody.